you. Tony, alcoholic.
Tony.
Good to be here. Thanks to Louis for asking me to lead tonight. I am speaking to you from the COVID cave, as many other people may have experienced. And Robert tells me that I look like the guy on WandaVision because of my red skin, but that's just because I spent a lot of time isolating outdoors on my motorcycle or in my swimming pool. But thanks for the tip on that. I'll try and use some SPF 1 billion next time I'm outside. But welcome to Patrick and Trent, and happy birthday to Frank and Tim and Patty. Several of you guys I know there. I have been fortunate enough to spend some time in that room. My home group is the San Marino Men's Stag, which I won't promote the time and date of that. I know Patch really hated that the last time I did that, so I'll see if I can save that till the end. A few little orders of detail in business. My sobriety date is 10/10/2008. I have a sponsor, I have sponsees. Right now it seems like I have too many sponsees. I don't know if that's possible, but it certainly is keeping me sober and helping me learn about a lot of stuff. Just the nuts and bolts. I'm an LA native. Lived here my whole life, grew up kind of semi-normal, I guess, upper middle class upbringing, Sherman Oaks, all the rest of that sort of stuff. And I had a problem, and then I found a solution in my early teens, and then my solution of drugs and alcohol worked for several decades and then became a big, massive problem. And to cut to the chase on that, I'm a non-compliant, I'm a retread. I went to multiple rehabs. I'm smarter than the average alcoholic. I'm a brilliant idiot. I did geographics on rehabs. It was always a problem with something else. It wasn't the problem with me. But it took me a lot. And I had a program for dying. I did not have a program for living. It took a lot. I had to have a few dozen cosmic frying pans upside the head, hammer of Thor, whatever the fuck it was going to take. But because I didn't have an off switch. Last few treatment centers I went into, I was blowing a 5. I was a booze and benzo guy at the end, looking at life through an aquarium. And that's where I got to. And my plan for life was I was going to make it past 50. And I made it about a month past 50 and ended up in another place that I didn't choose with a bunch of people that I didn't know, and came to the next day after they pumped me full of Ativan. And I'm sitting there doing my same song and dance for my girlfriend and my best friend who dragged me into rehab again. My family had stopped talking to me. I had lost just about everything in my life. And I did my little song and dance for them in that rehab on Family Day. And they left, and I sat there and said, wow, I wonder if they still believed what I was saying. And I said, no, I don't think they did. And I said, well, I wonder how long ago they stopped believing that. And I thought, wow, I think probably some time ago. And then I thought, do I even believe what the fuck I'm saying anymore? And that was when it fucking started to hit me. Because I realized at that moment, I was like, oh no, even I don't believe my bullshit anymore. I'm really in trouble here. So I went to bed on my little twin bed that night in another place I didn't choose, and woke up to a bunch of people I didn't know. Went into another process group on a Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and they said, oh, here's Tony, why don't you tell us your story? And I said, I don't know what to do. And they all looked at me like a bunch of Muppets up in the fucking gallery and just sort of shook their heads like, yeah. And they said, oh, we can work with that. And I was stunned that that was the answer, but it was the first honest thing I'd really said in a very, very long time. So the end of that was the last day that I had a drink, which was on October 10th of 2008. A little bit over 13 years. I don't know how the fuck I did that. I certainly did it one day at a time, and I did it by sticking myself like a stick, like Frank was talking about, in the middle of this bundle here. In the middle of the herd. I am a card-carrying member of this zombie cult that I never wanted to join. That is for goddamn sure. But here I am. I've gotten a lot of stuff back in my life that I lost. The most important things being relationships with family. I prayed for 2 things that first day in my treatment center. I said, I want to be a father to my daughter that I haven't seen for 4 years and wouldn't talk to me anymore. And I want to be a grandfather to my grandkids who weren't even conceived. And both of those things happened within less than 2 years of getting sober. And a lot of other miracles have taken place along the way. So all that means is nobody can tell me, a non-believer, a non-compliant who didn't want to be a part of this pack, I looked at all the differences, not the similarities, but nobody can tell me that this shit does not work if you work it. Because I am proof positive that it can work if you work it. I don't do it perfectly. I don't know anybody who does, but it is the only thing that worked for me. I saw my first shrink when I was 8. I spent 30 years in therapy. I tried every type of religion. I beat on djembe drums and jerked off around a campfire in the men's movement in the 90s. You know, I did everything I could except come into AA. And this is the only thing that worked for me. So I'm really, really glad to be here. And now I'm in the middle of this herd, and I am really reaping the benefits of that. But for the topic for tonight, that I wanted to touch on a couple of things. At our Stag, we had somebody throw out a really interesting topic a few weeks ago, which was, when did I sort of first realize that I was an alcoholic? And I thought it was a really interesting topic that I hadn't heard before, and I started thinking about it. Usual answer for me would be like, well, when I couldn't control and enjoy my drinking anymore, when shit started to happen, when I had a lot of problems, when I got fired from my job, when I couldn't stay in a relationship, when I lost a bunch of money. And then I really started thinking about it, and I said, no, I think it was when I was about 2. I think it was about 2 or 3 years old. And I remember standing in my backyard screaming at my sister and my brother, who were teasing the hell out of me because I'm eminently teasable, screaming at them, shut up, at the top of my lungs. And I really thought about that, and I thought, you know what? That was when I first had my problem. Because I had a problem of self-loathing, I had a problem of self-indulgence, I had a problem of self-destruction, I had a problem with self-will. And I really realized, and sort of sitting there a few weeks ago as that meeting sort of took shape, I said, wow, I really had a problem for a long time. And then I did find my solution. It took about another 10 years till I found my solution. And then that solution worked pretty well for a while until ultimately it didn't. So I used to say that I've been alcoholic since seed met egg, and I think that's pretty true. I probably had some nurture and nature along both paths of that. But I consider myself to be, I earned my seat there for sure, but I had some help along the way. But I think I've been an alcoholic for a really long time. And I think one of the things that helps me with is where I've gotten to today. Like Pavi was talking, thank you so much for your share there, Pavi. Yeah, we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to make it. There's, you know, it says we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. A lot of times I don't agree with that. I would love to shut the door on the past. I'd like to weld it shut if I could. And I regret the past almost every single freaking day. I was a shame-filled, guilt-ridden alcoholic that caused a lot of harm and a lot of problems to a lot of people. And it has taken me a long time to work through a lot of that. One of the things that I learned about that, because I never thought there was ever going to be a process for that, my past is not for my benefit, it's for the benefit of other people who are coming after me. And specifically working with a bunch of sponsees. The sponsees that I work with, I think one of the reasons they get a benefit out of that is because I've made so many mistakes. All I have to do is say, you know, your basic program here is don't do what I did and everything will turn out pretty good. Because I spent a lot of time wreaking carnage on the planet. But one of the things that I thought about, and I'd heard this a lot, because I was in a lot of different treatment centers. I was in country club rehabs, shithole rehabs. I went to one that was named Discovery House. I renamed it Humiliation House, because I think that's pretty much what they did every frickin' day there. And they kept saying, you know, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. And I'm like, I know I'm the problem. What's the solution? But I've sort of come to the perspective of, am I the problem or do I have a problem? And if I'm not the problem and I have a problem, does that mean there's some hope? Does that mean I'm redeemable? Does that mean that there is some potential for redemption? Because if I just think that I'm the, you know, I tend to believe that, you know, I'm an egomaniac with an insecurity complex. I'm a gold-plated turd. I'm an Academy Award full of shit. I am not right-sized. I either am, you know, I'm plastered to the ceiling or I'm oozing through the hardwood. I don't like, you know, I'm on cloud 10 or I'm on cloud 0. I don't like fucking cloud 5, right? Everybody flying Tony Airlines is scared shitless because, you know, this whole cruising thing for a couple of hours is not my style. So I'm an agent of chaos. But if I believe that there's no hope, there's no chance for me to redeem myself, that there is no solution to this, then I'm doomed. And I felt that way for a really, really long time. And I've learned otherwise in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the thing that I really wanted to sort of focus on, I've been working on step 2 a lot with my guys. And step 2, right, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. All right, I'm all down for that. Well, the first time I did that step, or I don't know, the 17th time, I did it a bunch of times. I had as many newcomer chips as Patton did. But I really was like, do you think maybe you could introduce me to sanity? Because I'm not sure sanity's ever been a part of my makeup. I don't think sanity's ever really been a part of my existence. So in working through this step the umpteenth time with my sponsees, I really started to consider, wow, okay, if there's a power greater than myself that could restore me to sanity, is it possible that there is a power greater than myself that removed me from sanity? Could that possibly have been alcohol and addiction? You know, and I thought about that, and I'm like, well, that's an easy question to answer. Of course it was. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life is unmanageable. Step 1, of course, right? But yeah, I spent a lot of time diving back into the volcano of addiction, right? And I'm like, yeah, this is where I belong. This is what's familiar. This is where I'm going to hang out, right? But that was a power that was greater than myself. I could not stop drinking. I could not stop using, no matter what I did. And then somehow, some way, that obsession was lifted. And that was lifted by a power greater than me. Wow. What a concept, right? Well, everything should be smooth sailing from there, right? Because I've developed a higher power. This higher power has restored me to sanity. I've hidden my will and life over the care of God of this, the care of this God that I understand. Everything's peachy keen, right? Well, except for one thing, right? There's that surrender. Okay, well, what's surrender, right? Well, I don't know, put your weapons down, stop fighting, go to the prison camp. I don't know what the fuck it is, right? But just stop fighting. Just give up. And I didn't give up for a long time until I finally sat in that final treatment center and I said, I don't know what to do. That was my white flag moment. I didn't realize that until about 6 or 8 months later. But that was my white flag moment. But where I've gotten to these days is, yeah, I'm fully convinced that I am powerless over alcohol. My life's unmanageable. I've fully surrendered to the fact that I can't control and enjoy my drinking 1 day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time, sometimes 15 minutes at a time. That's all I can do. I have a self-destructive disease that's centered in my brain that tells me I don't fucking have it, right? Great, right? Well, if I had cancer, I'd go to where the cancer people are, right? I'd go to chemotherapy, I'd do that. Well, I've got a self-destructive, self-loathing, self-obsessed, self-willed disease, so here I am in my chemo treatment with you guys tonight. It's exactly where I'm at. But my problem, my current problem that I have is, I don't think I'm surrendering to my higher power nearly as much as I should be. I really don't think I am. And that is something that's become patently obvious to me in working through step 2 again with some of my sponsees. I had no problem at all surrendering to the power greater than myself that was taking me straight to hell repeatedly for decades, for a really, really, really long time, to the edge of death. Yet, when that power that was greater than myself plucked me out of that and said, here you go. Here's your new lease on life. Here's your real second chance here. Here's your 17th chance. Here's your final chance. And I took advantage of that. And I did everything that was available to me. Yet still, you know, I'll still try and take it back a little bit. I'll still try and take it back a lot of bit. So surrendering to my higher power is currently my dilemma. So that's my topic for tonight. I don't know if that's the time to throw it out there, but that is my topic for the evening, is surrendering to my higher power, because that is something that I am currently having some difficulty with. I really have done a pretty good job through all this transition of the last couple of years and all of this, and I have repaired a lot of these relationships that were gone, that were torched. The things that I did in my alcoholism, my addiction, not in my alcoholism, my addiction, completely sober, they're criminal. Things that were really, really harmful to a lot of people. I've worked through all of those steps to try and restore that and to try and gain back some of the things that I've lost. Some of them didn't come back. but the most important ones did. I have a relationship with my daughter and my grandkids. I can go see them anytime I want. Relationship with my brother, my only existing family. I had a fairly difficult, holiday period. Didn't get to see anybody because everybody's living in a COVID cave. Okay, I managed all that stuff pretty well. But I'm not sure that I'm rocketing myself into the fourth dimension. I think I keep taking the wheel back. Higher power sitting in the passenger seat going, I'd be glad to take this over anytime. I'm like, no, I think I got this good. It's like, well, we're getting pretty close to that guardrail, so anytime you'd like to just a little help with that, just let me know. But I'd really like to hear what other people, whatever the people's perspective is on that. If anybody else has had that experience, if not, but I'm really, really glad to be here with you guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry I can't be with you guys in person, but thanks very much for letting me share.